Well, let's bring in Sergej Sumlenny, who's the founder and co-director of the European Resilience Initiative Centre. He joins us now live from Kyiv. Welcome to the News Hour. Great to have you with us. Now, you were in Russia, in Ukraine-occupied territory recently with the Ukrainian army. Just 2 days ago, you're now in Kyiv. Tell us about your experience there.
Oh, thank you for having invited me, and good evening from Kiev. Indeed, I visited Ukraine-occupied Russian territory in Kursk region, across the border of the Sumy region of Ukraine recently, and the impression was really great. First, the Ukrainian army is demonstrating its full strength. I have witnessed hundreds, I stress hundreds, of IFVs and other vehicles moving across the border and being kept also in Ukrainian territory. Artillery strikes, like with HIMARS, are constant against the Russian troops. The 3 Russian bridges across a strategic river in the Kursk region have been destroyed within the last 2 days by the Ukrainians, cutting off the Russian army. And what is important on the Russian territory, there are I've been to city Suja, there, a regional center there in Kursk Oblast, and there are almost no damages. The Russian army has just disappeared. Like they just pulled back. No signs of defense lines of Russia. Probably all money has been stolen by the Russian military. Instead of building defensive lines, the civilians are blaming Putin. They call Putin with the words I would not dare to repeat on TV. And the Ukrainian army is providing Russian civilians with food, water, and necessary means of life. And it is really amazing to see how much of confidence demonstrate the Ukrainian soldiers.
Sergej, just on that point about what the people are saying, I know you say they're saying things that can't be repeated on television, but just give us a sense of, do they feel betrayed by their Russian government? I mean, to have Ukrainian, the army now there on their territory must be a very big shock.
Yes, it is a shock for them. They clearly say that they understand that this is the consequence of Russia's war against Ukraine. Many of the civilians and what the civilians which I saw were mostly women in the age of 60, 65 years and older, because many young people have just left the town, and these people stayed. And they stress that they have deep roots in Ukraine. They say, we understand Ukrainian, or we can even speak some of Ukrainian. And they say that Putin has never cared about people and has left people as soon as it was possible. And they communicate with the Ukrainian soldiers. They have witnessed it. And they treat soldiers with respect, and the soldiers are very friendly towards them. The soldiers even speak to them Russian. I saw how Ukrainian soldiers spread food and water among the civilians, and the Ukrainian soldiers try to fulfill the duties of the occupational army. That is actually sounds pretty new, like Ukrainian army fulfilling, according to international law, the duties of occupational force in Russia. And yes, you named it correctly. The civilians say that they feel betrayed, and they hope that this war will end soon for them.
Sergej, why do you think we're seeing such an emboldened, if I can use that word, Ukraine now? I mean, we've got Zelensky saying in the past hour, our operation in Russia's Kursk region continues. We control some areas. And we've just seen drone attacks over Moscow. The mayor of Moscow called it one of the largest ever attempts to attack Moscow with drones.
Well, I think that the Ukrainian offensive is a very wise operation, incredibly good planned, and demonstrates a large scale of knowledge and wisdom, military wisdom. The Ukrainians could not gain a lot of success in Pokrovsk region in Donetsk in Ukraine, where the Russian forces continue its offensive and destroying Ukrainian civilian settlements like Mirnograd and Pokrovsk. So the Ukrainians needed to hit the Russians where the Russians were weak and unprepared, and they have decided to go to Kursk. where once again, obviously, no defensive lines have been built, money was stolen, no capable troops were stationed, only conscripts, etc., where the Ukrainians could rapidly expand and hit Russian logistics, demonstrate that Russia has no red lines. Like, obviously, it's no red line for Putin that Ukraine controls 1,250 kilometers of Russian sovereign territory, almost 1,000 square miles. It is much more that Russia has gained in Ukraine since the start of this year. And now Ukraine demonstrates that they beat the Russians. They have got a lot of prisoners of war from Russia in these territories. Many of them are representatives of so-called Kadyrovtsis, the troops which are subordinated to Chechen authoritarian leader Ramzan Kadyrov. And we know that Kadyrovtsi are very important commodity, so to say, for exchange of prisoners. If you have Kadyrovtsi, you can exchange them for Ukrainian prisoners. So it's a win-win-win for the Ukrainians. And we hear now that maybe, once again, its reports are not confirmed yet, that Ukrainians try to start another incursion in Bryansk region from Chernihiv. It's closer to Belarus, about 300 kilometers from Sumy. So the Ukrainians hit the Russians there where the Russians are weak. The Ukrainians increase massively ambiguity. They make Russians fear, and they continue to improve their positions also for possible negotiations. When now Russia would say, we just need to accept the situation on the ground, it's not possible for Russia anymore, because the situation on the ground is Ukraine controls a huge part of Russia's sovereign territory.
Sergej, fantastic to get your first-hand views and opinion. Thank you very much for speaking to us today here. Thanks for your time. Sergej Sumlenny from the European Resilience Initiative Centre. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.